Hi, Donna with Yoga for You. Welcome. Today we're going to do a gentle practice. And let's just start by taking a seat. If you have a blanket or a cushion that you feel more comfortable sitting up on, elevating the hips, please do so. Sit up nice and tall. Feel like you're creating more space within your spine, within the vertebra of the spine, reaching up through the crown of the head. Roll the shoulders a few times. Relax any tension that may just kind of be settling in those shoulders. Allow your eyes to close. And just take a moment here just to be present. Present with what is. Become aware of your surroundings wherever you may be practicing yoga at this moment. Become aware of the temperature of the room, of any ambient noise that you may hear. And allow your awareness to shift to your breath. Just observing the breath as it enters and exits the body. Trying to breathe in through the nostrils, breathe out through the nostrils. Let's see if we can avoid mouth breathing if possible. Relax the tongue in the mouth so the tongue is not pressing into the upper palate. Relax your lower jaw. And as you observe your own breathing, see if you can find and connect to that diaphragmatic breath. So very little movement in the chest as you're breathing. The breath drops deeper into the body, into the torso. As you inhale, feel the abdomen gently expand. Feel the side waistlines expand, the ribs. And as you fully exhale, feel the body contract back in without force, allowing this to feel natural. We want to learn to maintain the balance of our present lives while we work for a better tomorrow. See if you can find a balance between the inhalation and the exhalation of each breath. This equal breath in Sanskrit is referred to as samavriti, or equal movement. Just take a few more rounds of breath here. Equal inhalation, followed by an equal exhalation. And when you come around to your next exhalation, bringing your palms together at the heart space in Anjali Mudra. Pausing here, if you have an intention, a sankalpa you would like to set, please feel free to do so. If you don't have one in mind right now, let's just set an intention of creating a sense of balance in our bodies, in our breath, in our lives right now. And with your next exhalation, release the hands and open the eyes, and let's make our way onto our backs. And as you make your way onto your back, just rest the palms down by your hips and take a moment here. And just notice if you feel balanced. Even here, we're really supported by the floor. But notice if you feel like you have more weight in your right buttocks or your left buttocks. If you feel that you're centered along your spine, do you feel like your head is tipping a little more to the right or a little more to the left? A soft gaze up towards the ceiling or the sky, depending on where you might be practicing. Find that same balanced breath, Samavriti. And now begin to walk your heels in just a little closer towards your sits bones. Rooting down. Try to make sure that your knees are aligned over your ankles. Your knees are in nice alignment. And then slowly begin to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Watch that you don't flatten your neck out by tucking the chin in too close to the throat. Bring the chin slightly away so you maintain a nice curvature in the cervical spine. Now, we're going to pause here just for this one. And I want you to notice if there's balanced action going on. Do you feel like you have more weight rolling to the pinky toe edges of the feet or inwards towards the big toe mounds? See if you can distribute the weight more equally along both feet. Make sure your knees are in alignment. Are they still aligned right with your inner hip bones, the ASIS joint? Or are your knees splaying apart or rolling together? Do the best you can. And then vertebra by vertebra, begin to lower yourself back down to the mat and pause. We're going to do that 3 more times here without quite the pause at the top. Inhale, slowly begin to peel the spine away from the floor. Exhale, slowly roll back down the spine. Breathe in, peel yourself up. Breathe out, release yourself down. One more round like this. Breathe in, lift up. Exhale, release down. Now we're going to add one arm at a time. If you've got any type of shoulder issues that it bothers you to bring your arm up and overhead, then skip that. You could always bring the arm out to the side just a little bit if that feels more comfortable for you, or just leave your hands down at your hips. We're going to start with the right arm. Inhale, lift your hips up, reach that right arm up. As we exhale, let the right arm start traveling. First, it has further to journey and lower down. Alternate, inhale, hips up, left arm. Exhale, slowly release down. Let's do that 2 more times on each side. Breathe in, right arm. Breathe out. Breathe in, left arm. Breathe out. Last round. Inhale, right arm. Exhale. Inhale, left arm. Exhale. And pause. Now I'm going to add to that. So when the right arm rises, we're going to turn our gaze to the left. When the left arm rises, turn your gaze to the right. Here we go, right arm first. Inhale, lift up, right arm. Turn your gaze to the left shoulder. Exhale, everything returns back to neutral. Inhale, hips rise, left arm, turn your gaze to the right shoulder. Exhale, return everything to neutral. 2 more times. Inhale, right arm, turn to the left. Exhale, return to neutral. Inhale, left arm, turn your head to the right. Exhale to neutral. Last round on each side. Inhale, right arm. Turn your head to the left. Exhale, return to neutral. Last one. Inhale, left arm. Turn your head to the right. Exhale, return to neutral. And pause. Stay with your balanced breath. And now we're going to just do 3 more. And this time we're going to do both arms as long as that feels appropriate for your shoulder joints today. Inhale as the hips rise, both arms rise. Exhale, let the arms start to travel. Everything descends. Round 2, inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Last round, inhale, rise. And exhale, release. Hug both knees into your chest. Flex the feet a little bit so you bring some energy up from the feet into the floor of the pelvis, into the torso. Rock yourself a little side to side. And then release those feet back down. Now, if you're experiencing any low back discomfort today, you might choose to keep your feet on the floor and a knee bent at all times. If that doesn't apply to you and you want to extend those legs out along the length of the mat, do so. And then hug that right knee into the chest. Flex the foot and release it back out. Alternate, hug the left knee in, flex the foot, and release it back out. Let's do that a few more times. Right knee hugs in and release. Left knee hugs in and release. One more time on each side. Right knee in, release. Left knee in and release. Now hug both knees in simultaneously, flex the feet, and rock yourself a little side to side. And then release those feet down. Pause a moment. Heel toe your feet to the outer edges of your mat. So your feet are fairly wide. Reach your arms out. Make sure your arms stay slightly lower than shoulder height. Otherwise, that can put a little bit excessive tension on those shoulder joints. I'm going to lift my toes up, just my toes. So I refer to this as Barbie feet or a floint. If you're strongly lifting your toes up, you can feel how the arch of the foot rises. It's a very active foot. And now let's start to slowly windshield wiper those knees from side to side. One more time. And now the next time you windshield wiper those knees over to the right, let's pause. Now, if this is bothering your knee, particularly your left knee right now, you can always stack the knees instead. Otherwise, we're going to have this windshield wiper action. If your left shoulder joint's feeling pretty healthy, reach it up overhead. Reach those left fingertips towards the wall behind you and feel as if you're stretching this left hip towards that left heel. So we're creating a little bit more length through that waistline. And now bring that left arm back, bring those knees back to center, and drop those knees to the left. Again, now if this is bothering your right knee, bring it in and stack it, otherwise keep them wide. If you like, stretch those right fingertips up overhead, and then isometrically lengthen that right hip down towards the right heel, giving yourself more space along this right waistline. And then bring that arm in and bring those knees back to center. Heel toe your feet together. Hug those knees in, rock just a little, and then release those feet back down. Now, I have a strap right here. I'm actually not going to use it, but if you feel like you need it, you can pause the video, run, grab a strap or a belt on your robe or a necktie, whatever will work. If you don't have one, you can just follow along with me. Now hug this right knee in and flex the foot. Interlace your hands behind the right thigh or just hold on to that leg. And slowly start to press your right heel into the ceiling. I'm keeping that Barbie foot or that floyd. So I'm pressing up through the mound of the big toe, but the toes themselves are being drawn back towards my right knee. Keep breathing here. Now, if you feel like you want a little greater degree of stretch, you can do so by extending that left leg straight out along the floor. But once you extend it out, if you're going there, flex the foot and try and draw the top of the femur bone, the very top of this left thigh, down. I'm doing my very best to maintain a little natural curve in my low back, the lumbar spine. If you're pulling that leg in too far, you'll start to round into the lower back. The lower back will flatten into the floor and your bum will start to roll up to the ceiling. So find this balance. How much of a stretch can I get here without compromising the curvature of my spine? And now from here, point your right toe and flex, point and flex. So we're getting a little greater stretch through the muscles in the front, the anterior tibialis muscles, and those big calf muscles in the back. Now rotate the ankle one direction and go the other way. Slide your left leg in if you had it extended. Bend that right knee and place that right foot down. Hug the left knee in, flexing the foot. Interlace the hands behind the thigh, or if you're using a strap, that's fine as well. And slowly start to press the left heel up towards the ceiling. Look at your foot, press up through the left big toe mound, yet try to draw all those 5 toes, if that's how many you have, down towards your left knee. Very strong foot. Now, if you wanted to extend that right leg straight, flex the right foot and draw the head of the right femur bone down towards the mat. Now find the balance here, same as we did on that first side. How far can I draw that leg in, getting a nice stretch, without compromising the curve in my lumbar spine? And then start to point and flex, so you can feel how the stretch just kind of changes position in the leg. And then begin to rotate the ankle one direction and go the other way. And then slide that right leg in, release that left leg. Pause a moment here just to feel that you have balanced action along your spine. Now this next movement we're going to do, and we want to develop core strength. This can really help in the protection of lower back issues. However, if you already have a lower back issue going on right now, whether it's acute or chronic, I want you to be really careful with this, and you might choose to do bent knees. So we'll draw the knees in, hands down by your side. Now you can wiggle your thumbs underneath your buttocks a little bit, pressing the palms down to offer yourself a little more support. Extend your feet up towards the ceiling and flex the feet. Now the first one I'm going to do with bent knees, just to demonstrate. So I'm going to have my knees bent a little bit. What I first want to do is draw the sides of my waistline down towards the mat
and draw my lower abdominals gently in, as if I'm zipping up some really tight, low-riding jeans. And then from here, we're going to reach out and maybe tap, that might be too much, and come back. Now, if the further those legs lower to the floor, the more you're going to feel your back trying to arch up. It's trying to compensate. So we want to try to avoid that, okay? So if bringing the legs down this far is about as much as you can do while maintaining the integrity of the core and the lower back, that's where you stop. If you can lower your legs down and maintain the integrity of the core, that's fine as well. So I'm going to do 3 like that. So we're going to lower and come up, lower and come up. Keep an eye on what's happening in your lower back. Don't be so concerned about your legs. Lower and come up. Now that might be enough for you. You're saying, Donna, I don't want to do anymore. And that's fine. If you want, the legs can come straight up. Draw the sides of your waistline down. Zip up your snug low-riding jeans and slowly lower. Now notice at what point your lower back and your ribs want to arch up. Don't let that happen. Keep drawing down and then lift back up. This is called Uttan Padasana. We're going to lower down. You might just call it torture. Either ways works. Lift it up. Let's do 3 more. We lower and lift. Lower and lift. 1 more. Lower and lift. Hug those knees in. Rock yourself a little. Tuck those fingers behind the knees. You can use this to help and rock yourself up to a seat. And we're going to continue to move forward and come into child's pose. Now, I like my child's pose with my knees a bit wider, big toes coming close together, and settle my hips back. Now, this doesn't bother my knees. However, if it bothers your knees to have them in this degree of flexion or bend, then your bum might be a little higher up. So don't get too worried about that. What works for you? I'm going to come down to a nice child's pose, releasing my forehead, or stacking your hands and making a little pillow for that third eye center, the forehead to rest. Just take a few breaths here. Now this time I'm going to invite you to feel your breath into your back ribs, into your back body. Even feel like you're filling up the lower back, breathing in and out. Feeling this expansion and contraction, the balance. 1 more round here. And then start to lift the head. We're going to walk forward. As I come forward, my knees automatically realign. Now, if you're not wanting to practice downward facing dog today at home, Mukha Svanasana, for whatever reason, then you certainly don't need to. In fact, what you could do is walk the hands forward, keep the hips aligned over the knees, and curl your toes under. And work at this down dog. This is a puppy pose. So you could work here, or if you're ready to move into down dog, toes curl under. We're going to lift those hips up high, and I'm going to start with my knees bent. So I can drive my hips back. I'm getting length, creating length in my arms without allowing my armpits to sag or drape towards the floor. They're going to lift. I'm going to start to work towards straighter legs. Now you might decide to stay with bent knees. If, as you straighten your legs, it begins to press your torso and shoulders forward, then bend your knees again. Keep this length through the spine. Beautiful long down dog. Try to get as much weight out of the wrist and back towards those hips and feet. Now begin to walk your hands back to meet your feet at the back of your mat. So always keep a micro bend in the knees. Some of you might choose to have a little bit deeper bend. The hands need to touch the floor, at least the fingertips. Hovering midair can be really hard on the lumbar spine. So if you cannot touch the floor, then grab something around your house, whether it's a yoga block or book, stack of books or something, that you can bring the floor up to you. Hands can either remain on the floor if you're able to create length in the spine, or hands to your shins. Lift through the heart, not through your chin. The gaze is not the first thing that lifts here. We lift the heart, lift the ribs, and draw the lower belly in. So we're zipping up those snug jeans. My gaze just travels slightly forward. So I maintain length in the back of my neck. Slide back down into your forward fold. 2 more times like that. Inhale, lift the heart, lengthen the spine. Exhale, slide back down into your forward fold, Uttanasana. 1 more time, breathe in, lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, slide back down. Now inhale, lift. Make sure your bottom ribs are cinched in, hands on your hips, and slowly rise up to stand. Find the breath here. Find the balanced action. Do you have more weight in your right foot or more weight in your left foot? See if you can find that balance. Do you notice if your frontal hip bones are dipping down or lifting up? See if you can find that balanced action in your pelvis. Hands to your hips. We're going to step the right foot forward and make our way into warrior one. So I'm going to first take my left toes and pivot them just slightly out, as if they're facing towards that left corner of my mat. Right foot is going to step forward. Now, if you're challenged with balance, take a little step, little step, little step. My feet are as wide as my hips. I am not on a balance beam. Begin to rotate your hips, your navel, your chest to face towards the front of your mat. Now, pressing into the back foot, start to bend that front knee. Notice if all your weight shifted forward. Keep your weight balanced over your hips as you bend your front knee. Look at your front knee. Notice if it's rolling in towards the big toe. Try to keep the center of your kneecap tracking the center of your ankle. Now I'm going to bring a little more balanced work into my pelvis by tilting my tail down a little, lifting those frontal hip bones slightly up. Hands reaching down. Breathe. Now inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Breathe here, palms face each other as if you're holding a block between your palms. Inhale here. Now as we exhale, release your hands down and straighten your front leg. Inhale, bend your front knee, reach your arms up. Exhale, straighten your front leg, hands down. 1 more time. Inhale, bend your front knee, hands up. Exhale, straighten your front knee, hands down. Now come back into warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Bring your hands to your hips, and if possible, pivot your back heel off the mat. Maintain this balanced action, and we're going to try and step forward. So if you're challenged with balance, step a little forward, and then lift that left knee up. Drop the left sits bone down so your sits bones feel balanced. Stand strong in your right leg. Gaze ahead, find something to gaze at called your drishti point. Take 1 more breath here. Release your fingertips to the floor. Now inhale, both arms up and overhead. Breathe here. Hands to your heart. Release your left foot down next to your right. Release your hands down. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Reach up. Soft knees, straight spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift your heart, lengthen. Exhale, step back, down dog, or drop to all fours. Take a breath here. Find balanced action in your own torso. Notice if you've let your front ribs just drape or sag towards the mat. Hold them in. One more breath. Start to walk your hands back to meet your feet like we did earlier. Inhale, lift your heart and lengthen. Bring your hands to your hips and rise to stand. Take your right toes and just pivot them. It's very subtle. Pivot them slightly towards the right front corner of your mat. With your hands on your hips, we're going to step into warrior one. So I'm going to step and step. Now make sure that your feet are as wide as your hips. Right toes need to go the same direction you're directing your right knee and your right hip. So everything shifts forward. Now make that balanced pelvis. Tilt the tailbone slightly down. Frontal hip bones rise. Hands on your hips. As you press into your back foot, bend your front knee. Look down and make sure you have maintained that alignment. Release those fingertips down. Inhale, sweep both arms overhead. Feel like you're holding a big block between the hands. Shoulders relax. Exhale, straighten your left leg, hands down. Inhale, bend the left knee, arms rise. Exhale, straighten the left knee, arms down. One more time. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, release. Now come back to warrior one and pause. Bring your hands to your hips. We're going to make that step forward. So several little steps, or see if you can make one big step. Lifting your right knee up. Drop your right sits bone down a little and firm up your standing leg. Gaze forward. Fix your gaze on something. Maintain this balance. Release your fingertips down. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Breathe here. Bring your hands to your heart. Release your right foot down next to your left. Release your hands. Now step, it doesn't matter, either foot. Let's step I'm going to step my left foot back so I'm facing the long edge of my mat. Walk your feet back a little bit so you have a lot of mat space in front of you. Pivot your toes just slightly in, just a little bit, then firm up. Feel balanced action across your feet. Release your hands down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. See if you can bring your fingertips down to the mat or a block. If that's fairly easy, walk your fingertips back a little so they're in a parallel line with those toes. Inhale, lift your heart and lengthen. Exhale, bend your elbows and start to drape your crown of your head towards the mat. Shoulders slide up and away from the ears. Now notice if you've got more weight leaning back into your heels and your bum. Rock slightly forward a bit. Now walk your fingertips forward as far as you can without uprooting the feet. Rise way up onto your fingertips. Inhale, lift your gaze, look forward. Exhale, let the heart melt between those shoulders. Again, notice if all your weight shifted back. Now start to walk your hands back. Right under the face, bring your hands to your hips, shoulders and elbows roll up towards the ceiling. Inhale with a flat back, take your time as you rise back to stand. Take your left foot and pivot it out to the left. So you're facing probably the back edge of your mat now. Align your shoulders right over the hips. We still have that balanced action. And reach your arms straight out to the side. Now pivot to the left, over that left foot as if you're trying to reach for something. Do your best not to lock that left knee out. It tends to want to do that. So work at a micro bend. So stretch long. We want to try to maintain length or that balanced action in both sides of the waistline. Feel your inner left thigh muscles firing up. Those are those adductor muscles. Take one more breath. And then start to pivot down. Bring your left hand maybe right below your left knee without locking that knee out. Right hand is going to come to your waist. Now roll your right shoulder open and back as if you're trying to roll your chest up towards the ceiling. Pause here. Now if you've got the flexibility in the back of that left leg to drop that left hand closer towards the foot or the floor without compromising the length in both side body, then you can reach that right arm up, stack your right wrist over your right shoulder. Your right shoulder stacked over your left shoulder, over your left wrist. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Gaze can be up, straight ahead, or gaze down. Take one more breath here. Bring your right hand down to your hip, micro bend that left knee again, and rise up. Straighten your left foot, pivot your right toe open. Balanced action along the body, reach the arms straight out. Now put a micro bend in that right knee, hinge forward, and feel as if you're reaching for something just beyond those right toes. Lengthen the body. Release your right hand down right below your right knee and press your knee into your hand a little bit so you know you're not hyperextending that knee. Find length through both side bodies, not just the left one. If you want to slide down further, you can, or stay up. Now bring your left hand to your hip. Roll your left shoulder open and start to spin your chest open. Stack your left wrist over your left shoulder over right shoulder. Breathe here. One more breath. Now bend that right knee a little, rise up, and pivot those toes in. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to the hips, shoulders roll back, and hug those elbows together. Like pulling your elbows together on your back body. Breathe in here. Exhale, hinge forward. Look down, long neck. Continue to fold. Now slide your hands down the outsides of the legs. See if you can grab hold of your ankles, shoulders roll back, and draw yourself in half. Release the fingers right below the head. Inhale, lift the spine, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Now start to walk your way to the right or back towards the front of your mat. Step your right foot back to down dog. Step your right foot back to down dog or all fours. Remember, check in with your front ribs, cinch them in. Then release the knees to the mat. Release the hips to the heels and find child's pose. Find that balanced breath. And now look forward to the space between the hands. Shift through all fours, continue to shift forward and lower all the way down to your belly. Hands on either side of the chest to frame the chest. Now check in. Roll the shoulders up and back. Hug the elbows in towards the ribs, towards midline. Now press your pubic bone down. You want to try and lengthen your tailbone in the direction of the heels. Notice if your heels, if you just let them roll out. Hug them towards midline. As we lengthen the tailbone, inhale, start to peel your chest up. You don't need to use the hand strength. In fact, if you feel like you are, press the feet down and lift the hands up. It's much more challenging. Peel up, shoulders stay back. Don't let them start to sneak up and hunch. And then lower back down. Let's do that 2 more times. Lengthen your tailbone first. Inhale, peel your torso up. Exhale, lower back down. One more cobra. Inhale, peel up. Exhale, lower down. Now take your hands and walk them straight out to the sides. So your fingers are more or less aligned with your shoulders. Elbows are still bent, shoulders roll up and back. Lengthen your tailbone, check in with your heels. Pull your heels towards midline like you're hugging a block between your heels. Inhale, curl up. Exhale, release down. Two more. Inhale, curl up. Exhale, release down. Last round, inhale, curl it up. And exhale, release down. Bring your hands to frame your chest, shoulders back. Inhale, curl up. Lift from the navel center, all fours, and slowly take it back to child's pose. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Start to rise up into a kneeling position. If you feel like you want a little extra cushioning under the knees, place a blanket or towel there. Roll your shoulders back, and I'm going to bring my hands to my hips, kind of with my thumbs on just where my buttocks start to swell out a little bit. Now lengthen your tail towards your knees. We've been doing this throughout the practice, so lengthen the tailbone down. These frontal hip bones are going to rise slightly. Chest lifts. Going to do just a little mini camel pose. Inhale, start to lift the chest. Feel like there's a string attached to the center of your sternum, and someone on the ceiling is lifting it up. Lengthen your tail towards your knees as your heart lifts up. Try not to let the head drop all the way back to compromise the cervical spine. Keep the neck long, and then slowly come up and pause. Let's do it again. Lengthen your tailbone towards your knees. Start to lift your sternum up towards the ceiling. Keep lifting up, gaze up a little if you'd like, and come back. Notice in this back bend, I am not cueing anywhere around the lower back. I'm not asking you to go into a back bend. I'm asking you to lengthen the tailbone down and lift the heart up. And with those motions, those actions, it takes us into a bit of a back bend. One more time. Shoulders back, elbows together. Lengthen your tailbone towards your knees. Now start to lift your sternum up to the ceiling. The action of the tailbone down and the sternum up, we keep that action. Lift your gaze. And then slowly come back. If you're able to sit down in Thunderbolt pose, Vajrasana, just sitting on your heels, do so, or take a cross-legged seat. Find that balanced breath. And then we're going to make our way to our seat. Bring your right ankle or heel in front of the left. So my right leg is slightly in front of the left. If you feel like you'd like to elevate the hips up onto a blanket or a small bolster, a towel or something, please do so. Sit up nice and tall. Now, if your knees are riding high like this, that's not uncommon. If you've got blocks available, you could always place a block to support the knees so that it's not putting extra pressure on the knees nor on the hips. Sit up nice and tall. Bring your right fingertips to the floor if that's not available. A block or something that can lift the floor up to you. Right shoulder back. Inhale, look over at your left hand, let it rise. Like you're following the movement of the sun or the moon across the sky.
And then bend your right elbow and move into a lateral flexion of the spine, or a side bend as we know it. Keep pressing down through your left sits bone as that left arm reaches around, so we continue to find this balanced action. Now inhale, lift up through that left arm, come back through center, walk your hands in front of you. Shoulders down and back, and the sternum, the chest lifts. Chin comes in slightly to maintain the length through the back of the neck. You can stay here, especially if you've got any lumbar disc issues, or if you're comfortable making your way forward, you could walk your hands forward. Bring the chin in slightly towards the throat to elongate the back of the neck. Lower belly draws in. Remember, zip your jeans. Some of you might feel comfortable dropping all the way down. You can stack your hands. Find a steady, balanced breath here. And then slowly make your way up, walking the hands back in. Extend that right leg out. Shake it out a little. Bring your left hand behind and cross your right hand to that left knee or anywhere you can comfortably reach. Lengthen first. So reaching the crown of the head up. From your lower belly, please don't turn your head. In fact, if you can look towards the screen, do so. Start in your lower belly and lower back. Just twist. You're not going to go far. Don't expect to. And then slowly let your gaze turn just at a point that's comfortable. And then come back through center. Bring that right leg in and let's change the cross of the legs. So now we have our left foot, left ankle in front. Bring your left fingertips down to the floor outside that left hip. Shoulder roll back. Reach your right hand up, look at your right palm, and slowly let it move across the sky. Bend your left elbow and move into your lateral flexion, your side bend. Press your right sits bone down as the right fingertips reach. Balanced action here. And then inhale, rise up. Bring those hands forward once again. Whatever felt best for you on that first side, you can revisit it on this second side. Find a calming, balanced breath. And then slowly make your way back upright. Extend that left leg, just kind of shake it out a little bit. Bring that right hand behind you. Roll the right shoulder open and cross that left arm. Now lengthen first. Gaze at the screen, draw your belly in, and just easy little twist. And then slowly let your gaze twist to where it's comfortable. And then make your way back to center. Extend the legs out in front of you, shake them out a little bit. Again, find your Barbie feet. So press through the mounds of the big toes. Drag the toes themselves back towards your knees and sparkle your toes, little Rashmi toes. Sparkle them wide. Sit up nice and tall. If your hamstrings, the backs of your legs, are very tight, this is going to be a challenging pose for you. So you might need to bring your hands back, shoulders open, and lean back a little to maintain the integrity of the spine. If you're able to fold forward, we need these frontal hip bones that I've been talking about, the ASI joints. That pelvis needs to be able to tilt forward as I fold forward. If my pelvis is unable to tilt forward due to usually tight hamstrings, different reasons, all I do is pull back and round. And this is not the pose. The pose needs to be long spine. I'm going to turn to the side here so that you can see the difference. So this is not the pose. The pose is this lift. So maybe your
hands come back, and this is your forward fold. So my hip bones start to descend towards my thighs. My tailbone is reaching back, and I can maintain a long spine. Because I don't have any lumbar disc issues, I'm really fortunate. I'm going to draw my belly in, and at some point I may start to round and fold forward in a pose called Paschimottanasana. Let's just take one more rounded breath here. Lift your gaze if you're folded forward and rise up with that nice long spine. And then cross your legs in whatever way feels best for you. Elevate your hips if you would like. Find balanced action between both sits bones so you don't have more weight on one than the other. Do your very best. Shoulders relax. We started here. Lower belly gently draws in just to support the lower back in this upright pose. Close your eyes, reach the crown of the head up as the sits bones root down. Watch that you're not crunching the eyes shut, that they're softly closed. Cheekbones, cheek muscles are relaxed. Your tongue is relaxed in the mouth. Teeth are slightly parted and the lower jaw is relaxed. Come back to the breath. Not necessarily trying to cultivate a particular breath, but observing the breath as it moves in and out of the body. Become very present here in this moment. Without needing to label anything, without needing to judge. Just take a moment and inventory, scan your body, just notice how you feel at this time compared to when we first began practice. Notice if the mind seems a little calmer. The breath flows with more ease. Just take a few more rounds of breath from here. And slowly open the eyes. Let's make our way onto our backs. Hug both knees in towards your chest. Open your arms out wide. Rock both knees over to the right. Let them settle. If they cannot settle without that left shoulder popping up, place something under your right knee to lift the floor up to you. Or bring that left hand in and just rest it on your hip or waist. So you're not creating undue tension in the shoulder joint. One more round of breath here. And then take your time as everything returns back to neutral. Allow those knees to drop to the left. Right arm reaches out or rests on the waistline. Take one more round of breath here. Take your time as you return back to neutral. Give yourself a hug for a job well done. If your neck feels healthy, you can roll your forehead up towards your knees. Don't crunch your shoulders. Just stretch out the neck a little bit. And then release the head down, taking that length with you. Gently rock your head from side to side, and then returning it to neutral. One at a time, extend a leg out along the length of the mat, a little wider, second leg. Make any adjustments. I like to lift my chest ribs up, roll my shoulder blades underneath me a bit as I release down. If you've got lower back issues, sometimes extending the legs out straight can feel like it's pulling on the lower back, especially if you have tight psoas muscles. So you might choose to roll a cushion under your knees, or maybe you keep your knees bent and allow the inner knees to drop together for support. Shavasana should be comfortable for you. Allow the eyes to close. Again, relax the muscles of the cheeks. Relax the root of the tongue, the hinges of the lower jaw. Allow the arms and hands to relax and become heavy. Allow the legs and feet to relax and become heavy. Soften your navel center, soften your lower abdominals so that you can receive a nice, easy, balanced breath. Take a moment and feel balanced throughout your entire body, from the crown of your head out through the fingertips, from the crown of the head all the way down to the pelvis, along your spine, from your pelvis all the way out through your legs to the toes. An easy, balanced breath. Maintain the balance of your present life while you work for a better tomorrow. Continue to feel balanced throughout your body. The external body, the shape, the support on the floor. A balance on the internal body. Balanced breath. And a balanced mind. A balanced mind does not mean that there are no thoughts, that it's just a blank slate. But instead, the mind is not chattering away and jumping from topic to topic. It's relaxed and calm. And we create balance in our bodies, balance in our minds, in our lives. It gives us this sense of equanimity or contentment. That doesn't mean that everything in our lives, our society is going perfect, but that we feel balanced at the moment. The more balanced moments you put together moves into minutes, and minutes moves into hours. Minutes and minutes moves into hours. Hours moves into days.
Please stay here as long as you need or would like. And whenever you're ready to move on to the rest of your day, take your time as you make your way back to a seat. And once you find a seat, take a few moments there to feel balanced, to feel connected to all that's around you. I thank you for joining me in this practice today. And I wish you a balanced, beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.